Hello everyone, this is Helena Hall, and thanks so much for being here today. In this video, we will talk about what happens after you leave. You have come so far, so please keep pressing forward and don't look back. Don't let finances, fear, doubt, or other people's opinion make you second guess yourself about either leaving or putting your abuser out. Your physical and mental well-being is at stake, and if there are children involved, it is important for them to get counseling if needed. I am going to title this video, 2 Steps Forward and 10 Steps Back. After you are no longer in that abusive situation, you will go through a bunch of feelings all at once. You will feel scared and angry. Angry at the abuser or angry at yourself. Some days you won't feel anything at all. If this is too much for you to handle, please get counseling. There are going to be some good days where you will smile and feel that you can move forward. But then there will be some other days when you won't feel like getting out of bed, or you may even feel like life is not worth living. Don't let any of these feelings cause you to go back. The abuser builds an unhealthy safety net where at first you may feel comfortable because you are in a familiar place. Soon after that, the cycle begins again and can even get worse because you either left or put your abuser out. At first, they give you a false sense of security, like everything will be all right, but deep down inside you know it's not. Now you have to find strength to either stay away or not allow him to come back. Once you leave, your local police department can explain to you about temporary restraining orders, and you can also find the laws about visitations if there are children involved. Learn the laws in your state about domestic violence, restraining orders, divorce, custody, and visitation. Know your rights as a victim. In my case, the police was called, and he was taken to jail. I had to go down and file a complaint, but I didn't get a restraining order. When I returned home, I didn't know what to feel. When I looked at myself in the mirror, I had a lump on my forehead, and I thought, how am I going to explain this? The next day, I had to call my job and explain to my boss what happened to me. I had just got that job, and I didn't want to be fired because I was asking for a day off. My boss told me after I explained what happened to take as much time as I needed. I was very blessed to have such a compassionate boss, and when I did return 3 days later, he pulled me to the side and gave me a phone number to call if I needed counseling. As the days went by, sometimes I was okay. Other times, I was great. Then there were those times when I was angry. I jumped at every noise, and I was still hiding money. My oldest daughter said, "Mom, he's gone. You don't have to do that anymore." After she said that, I cried. I cried because it seemed that things would not get better. Although I was trying to press forward, it seemed like I was going back. But soon after, I did start to calm down. Early one morning, about 2 a.m., I heard a knock at my door, and I was terrified. I went to the door and looked out the peephole, and it was a police officer. When I opened the door, the officer said that when the abuser is released, they have to notify the victim. My heart dropped, and the fear came in like a flood. The only thing that saved me from my abuser was 2 things. 1, God covered me. And 2, my abuser was only interested in getting high. He never once came to bother me. I got a few phone calls, but he never bothered me. He never came at me. I didn't deal with him, and I didn't deal with his family members. I prayed to God that he would deliver me out of an abusive situation, and he did. And since then, I have stayed delivered. Some abusers retaliate and come back to do harm. And if this is your reality, find out what you can do to protect you and your children from the abuser. If your abuser goes to jail, that gives you some time to plan and take precautions for your safety. Don't give your abuser a chance to come back after you. Protect yourself. I promise you, it does get easier. But it took me about 2 years after my abuser was gone for me to finally start to focus and live. Every once in a while, a thought of, will he bother me again, will come to mind. But I don't deal with him. Just keep moving forward. Even if they're little baby steps, just don't go back. If you go back, you may not have a chance to move forward. Domestic violence is real. People are losing their lives over this phenomenon. You have inner strength. We all do. Ask God to help you to tap into that strength. Lean on Him. And when you're not so strong, pray to God for His power to give you that strength. You can do it. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. And in my next and last video, I will be discussing how to begin again. I always like to end with a scripture, and it comes from 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 19, and it reads, while they promise them liberty, they themselves are the servants of corruption. For of whom a man is overcome, of the same is he brought in bondage. Thanks again for joining me. And until next time, be blessed.